Lieutenant Alex Harper had never seen a planet like Xyrith. From the space station above, the world looked calm, covered with soft green forests and shimmering lakes, but landing on the surface revealed a strange and unpredictable life. The air smelled fresh, but there was an unusual energy that seemed to vibrate through everything. Alex adjusted his uniform and stepped out of the shuttle, his boots crunching on the soft, pinkish soil. He was here for one purpose: to teach the twin alien princesses some manners. The mission had sounded simple at first. Xyrith was ruled by twin princesses, Lyra and Leora, who were famous across the galaxy, not for bravery, not for wisdom, but for chaos. Nothing could tame them. Advisors had tried, teachers had tried, even skilled diplomats from other planets had failed. Every attempt ended with floating furniture, angry roars, and the twins laughing at authority. And now, a human, Alex Harper, had been sent. Alex had prepared himself as best as he could. He studied Xyrithian culture, read reports about the twins' tricks, and went over lessons in patience. Still, no preparation could make someone ready for the reality of meeting Lyra and Leora. The palace was enormous, with tall spires that touched the sky. Its walls shimmered faintly, as if alive. Guards with strange, elongated shapes nodded at Alex, recognizing him as the new liaison. They spoke in a language he did not understand, but one of the attendants, a small, gentle woman named Mara, spoke basic human words. "Lieutenant Harper, the princesses are... well, you will see," she said with a nervous smile. "Good luck." Alex gave a small nod, gripping the railing as he walked into the main hall. Immediately, the chaos began. Lyra appeared first. She seemed to float rather than walk, her long, silver hair glinting in the light. She carried a small, glowing orb in her hand, which she spun with skill. Her eyes were bright, curious, and full of mischief. "A human?" she asked, her voice musical but sharp. "What is he doing here?" Before Alex could answer, Leora appeared from the shadows. She was smaller than Lyra but faster, darting across the room with a strange grace. In one hand, she held a tiny creature that looked like a cross between a bird and a lizard. It chirped loudly. Leora smiled at Alex, but there was a sharpness in her gaze. "I heard humans are boring," she said. "Are you boring?" Alex swallowed, trying to stay calm. "I hope not," he said. He gave them a polite bow. It felt strange bowing to creatures who could probably toss him across the room if they wanted, but he hoped the gesture would show respect. Lyra tilted her head. "Respect? Do humans always bow?" Alex shook his head. "Only sometimes. Usually, we shake hands." He extended his hand. The twins looked at each other and giggled. Then Lyra spun her orb and pointed it at Alex. A small spark of light shot toward him, narrowly missing his shoulder. He jumped back, heart racing, but kept his balance. "Try to be careful," Alex said calmly, raising a hand to show he meant no harm. "I'm not used to fast-moving energy like that." Leora laughed and placed the chirping creature on Alex's shoulder. It wriggled slightly, but didn't bite. Alex froze for a moment, then gently held it. "I think we can be friends," he said. The twins exchanged surprised looks. Said Lyra. "You are not afraid." "That is unusual." Alex smiled. "I've learned it's better to stay calm when things are strange. It helps people, or aliens, stay calm too." For a moment, the room was quiet. Then Lyra clapped her hands. The orb flew from her hand and bounced around, hitting walls and lamps, making sparks. "Let's see how long you last," she shouted. Alex sighed, already realizing this mission would not be simple. "I think I better start with small steps," he said. "First, we can try to talk without throwing objects at each other." The twins looked at him as if he had just made a joke. But Alex remained serious. He knew that if he laughed or tried to fight, it would only encourage their chaos. Instead, he carefully guided the small creature back to Leora and waited. Hours passed, and Alex attempted the first lesson: basic communication. He spoke slowly, using words he hoped they could understand. He asked them to sit together, to greet him politely, and even tried to show them a simple human handshake. Lyra tilted her head and stuck out her hand. Alex took it gently. She yanked it back suddenly, then burst into laughter. Leora copied her sister, giggling as well. But Alex did not laugh or get angry. He stayed calm, explaining again that the handshake was a sign of respect and trust. By the end of the afternoon, the twins were not perfectly polite. But there was a small change. They mimicked Alex's movements more carefully, paused when he asked them to, and even tried a proper handshake together. Alex allowed himself a small smile. Progress, he thought, even if tiny, was still progress. Dinner was another challenge entirely. The twins refused to sit in their assigned seats. They hovered over the table, tossing food in the air and laughing when it landed on the floor. Alex calmly picked up a floating dish and placed it back. On Zyrith, it seems food likes to fly, he said with a small grin. On Earth, we try to keep it on the table. Lyra frowned for a moment, then giggled. Leora tilted her head, considering his words. Alex realized that humor could reach them where commands could not. By the time the meal ended, most of the dishes were intact, and the twins had managed to sit properly for a few minutes. After dinner, Alex showed them a small human game. It was simple, a ball they had to pass without dropping it. At first, Lyra tried to use her powers to make it float uncontrollably. Lyra attempted to make the ball disappear entirely. Alex stayed calm, patiently demonstrating how the game worked. Slowly, the twins began to play without using powers. Their laughter was genuine, but there was no destruction. As night fell, Alex walked out to the balcony to breathe. The twin princesses had retreated to their private chambers, though he could hear their giggles echoing faintly through the walls. The sky of Zyrith was full of stars, brighter than any he had seen before. He thought of his home, the quiet streets of his city, and the simple life he had left behind. And yet, he felt a strange excitement. These princesses were unlike any being he had ever met. They were powerful, intelligent, and untrained in patience or discipline. If anyone could teach them manners, it would take more than authority. It would take understanding, courage, and a willingness to face chaos without fear. Alex looked up at the stars and whispered to himself, "Tomorrow will be harder, but I can do this." He knew the first day had been just the beginning. Lyra and Leora were clever, mischievous, and unpredictable, but for the first time, he sensed a flicker of respect from them. They were testing him, yes, but perhaps they were also curious, and curiosity, he knew, could be guided. As he went to his quarters, Alex prepared for the next day. He would need patience, creativity, and a calm mind. The twins might be untamable by anyone else, but he believed somehow that humans could show even the most wild creatures a new way to act. He just had to find it. And somewhere in the palace, the twin princesses whispered to each other. "He is strange, but not weak," said Lyra. "I wonder what else he can teach us," added Leora. The stage was set. Alex Harper, the human, had stepped into the palace of chaos. The twins had yet to understand it, but their lives and the palace itself would never be the same. The next morning, Lieutenant Alex Harper woke early, ready to continue his lessons. The first day with the twin princesses had been chaotic, but he had seen small signs of hope. Lyra and Leora were curious, clever, and mischievous, but he knew that patience and consistency could guide them. Today, he planned to start with simple manners and small tasks that might show them the benefits of cooperation. He entered the main hall, carrying a small tray of treats from Earth. They were simple biscuits, chocolate, and small fruit slices. But he hoped they would catch the twins' attention. As soon as Lyra and Leora saw him, their eyes lit up, and they hovered toward him. "You brought food?" Lyra asked, her silver hair floating around her shoulders. "Maybe you are useful after all." Alex smiled. "I thought we could start with a lesson while enjoying something small." He placed the tray on a low table and gestured for the twins to sit. Leora tilted her head. "A lesson? We are not students." "No," Alex said calmly, "but even leaders need lessons. And today, the lesson is simple. We will learn to share and work together." Lyra scoffed. "Work together? That sounds boring." Alex took a biscuit and held it in front of them. "If you can pass this treat from one hand to the other without dropping it, we will have learned something important. Cooperation is the key to success." The twins looked at each other, then at the treat. They agreed to try, but it did not go well at first. Lyra tried to use her powers to float the biscuit across the table, and it shot into the air, hitting a wall. Leora attempted to make it vanish, but it reappeared on the floor. Alex sighed, but he did not get angry. He gently picked up the biscuit and showed them again. "See," he said, "if we work slowly and carefully, we can pass the biscuit without losing it. Try this." The twins hesitated, then tried again. This time, they used their hands without powers. The biscuit passed between them successfully once, then twice. They laughed, surprised by their own success. "This is fun," said Leora, smiling. Alex nodded. "It is fun, but it also teaches an important lesson. When we work together, we can achieve something we could not do alone." The rest of the morning was filled with small exercises. Alex showed them how to greet guests politely, how to use simple words to express feelings, and even a few human gestures like bowing or nodding. The twins were not perfect, but they tried. Lyra often added her own dramatic flair, spinning and twirling before shaking hands, while Leora asked a million questions about why humans did things differently. Alex answered each question patiently. By noon, Alex decided it was time for a more challenging task. He led the twins to the palace garden, a vast space with glowing flowers and crystal streams. The garden was beautiful but filled with dangerous plants and small creatures. Many of the palace guards avoided the garden because the twins often made mischief there. "Today," Alex said, "we will practice teamwork in a real situation. We need to collect some of these plants carefully, without harming them or the creatures around. Can you do that?" Lyra raised an eyebrow. "We are not gardeners." "Leaders must learn every skill," Alex said. "Even small skills can teach discipline." The twins exchanged a glance, then shrugged. "Fine," said Leora. "But if a flower attacks me, I will zap it." Alex smiled faintly. No zapping, only gentle hands. At first, the twins were reckless. Lyra tried to grab several flowers at once, crushing some, while Leora followed a bright butterfly and ignored the task. Alex calmly stopped them, showing how to pick one flower at a time and observe the surroundings. Slowly, the twins began to listen. Lyra paused to consider the flowers, noticing their colors and shapes. Leora crouched carefully, avoiding the butterfly and small insects. Alex encouraged them at every step. "See how much easier it is when we pay attention and move carefully?" he asked. "We can enjoy the garden without breaking anything." By the end of the afternoon, the twins had collected a small bouquet together. They looked proud of themselves. Lyra held the bouquet like a trophy, while Leora examined each flower closely. Alex nodded. 80-17. 80-17. Good work. You were careful, patient, and worked together. That is true leadership. The twins exchanged a smile. For the first time, Alex noticed a change in their expressions. They were not just amused by the human. They were genuinely learning. After the garden exercise, Alex decided to introduce another lesson. Patience in conversation. The twins were used to speaking over everyone and making sudden decisions. He wanted them to learn listening skills. They returned to the main hall, and Alex sat on the floor, inviting the twins to do the same. He held a small ball and explained a simple game. Each person would hold the ball and speak for 1 minute without interruption. The others had to listen carefully and repeat back what they heard. Lyra laughed. 1 minute? I can speak faster. You may speak fast, Alex said. But the point is to be understood and to understand others. Try it and see. Leora went first. She spoke about her favorite crystals and flying creatures. Lyra and Alex listened carefully. When Leora finished, Alex repeated back what he had heard. Leora, Leora, you enjoy crystals that shine in many colors and creatures that can glide through the air. Is that correct? Leora nodded, surprised. Yes, that is correct. Lyra went next, talking about her favorite foods and games. Alex and Leora listened without interrupting, then repeated her words. Lyra blinked. You actually listened? Alex smiled. Listening is one of the strongest tools a leader can have. By the end of the exercise, the twins were more focused. They had not only learned to speak clearly, but also to listen, a skill they had never valued before. Alex noted this as a small but important victory. The afternoon continued with lessons on self-control. Alex introduced a simple meditation technique. The twins were skeptical, at first giggling as he asked them to close their eyes and breathe slowly. But as he spoke calmly, guiding them through each step, their laughter quieted. Lyra's body stopped spinning, and Leora's movements slowed. For a few minutes, the palace hall was silent, except for their breaths. When they opened their eyes, Alex said, "See? Controlling our thoughts and actions can help us make better decisions. Even small control leads to big changes." Lyra tilted her head. "It is harder than I thought, but it feels nice." Leora nodded. "Yes, I think I understand." Alex smiled, proud of their progress. He knew that one day, these small lessons would help the twins control the chaos they naturally created. Today was not a full victory, but it was the beginning of change. As the sun began to set, Alex led the twins to the palace balcony to watch the twin moons rise. The sky of Xyrith glowed with soft colors, reflecting on the lakes below. Lyra and Leora were quiet, not because they were obedient, but because they were thinking. Alex spoke softly. "You did well today. You tried new things, worked together, and listened. Each of these steps is important, and each step shows that even someone as powerful as you can learn new ways to act. Try." Lyra looked at him with a small smile. "You make learning fun," Leora added. "Yes, I never thought learning could be like this." Leora, 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 I never thought learning could be like this. Alex nodded. "It can be. We just need patience, curiosity, and the will to try." For the first time, the twins seemed to see him not just as a human or a stranger, but as someone who could teach them something important. Alex knew the road ahead was long. Tomorrow, he would introduce more complex lessons: cooperation in problem-solving, diplomacy, and the importance of rules in leadership. But today, he had achieved something more valuable. The twins had begun to respect his guidance. As Alex returned to his quarters, he reflected on the day. Teaching manners to twin alien princesses was unlike any mission he had faced. It required calmness, strategy, and creativity. But he felt a quiet confidence. If anyone could reach them, he could. And perhaps, in the process, he could show that humans had more to offer the galaxy than anyone imagined. Meanwhile, The twins whispered to each other in their language, their voices soft and thoughtful. "He is not like the others," said Lyra. "No," Leora agreed. "He does not try to control us. He teaches us." Alex Harper had not yet tamed them fully. He had only begun. But in a small way, he had started to change the way the twin princesses thought about rules, patience, and cooperation. And in the vast, unpredictable palace of Zyreth, that was already a victory. As night fell and the palace lights dimmed, Alex made a small note to himself. Tomorrow, the real tests would begin. He would need more courage, cleverness, and patience than ever before. But he was ready. He believed that humans could teach even the most untamable creatures a new way to live and perhaps a new way to lead. The morning on Zyreth began quietly, but Alex Harper knew it would not stay that way. The first 2 days had taught him that the twin princesses, Lyra and Leora, were clever and mischievous. They had learned to follow small instructions, cooperate in minor tasks, and even try to listen. But today, he planned to test them in a bigger challenge, one that would need focus, teamwork, and careful thinking. Alex entered the main hall carrying 2 simple boxes and a small map. Lyra and Leora hovered near the ceiling, giggling, as if they had no intention of taking the day seriously. "What is this?" Lyra asked, spinning a small, glowing ball in her hand. "A challenge," Alex replied calmly. "Today, you will learn how to solve problems together. Leadership is not just about power. It is about thinking, planning, and helping each other. This is your first real test." Leora tilted her head, her curiosity winning over her mischief. "What kind of problem?" she asked. Alex smiled. "You will need to find a safe path through the palace gardens using this map. There are obstacles, plants that react if touched, small creatures that move quickly, and hidden streams. You must carry these boxes from here to the end of the garden without breaking anything or letting the boxes fall." Lyra raised an eyebrow. "Boxes? That sounds boring." "Maybe," Alex said. "But boring or not, it will teach you something important. Sometimes, leaders face boring tasks. The difference is how they handle them." The twins exchanged a glance, then shrugged. "Fine," said Leora. "We will try." Alex handed them each a box. Lyra's box glowed faintly blue, and Leora's shimmered green. The boxes were light, but fragile. Alex pointed to the map. "Follow the path carefully. Stop when you see an obstacle, think before you act, and help each other if needed. Ready?" The twins nodded, though with obvious doubts. Alex stepped back, watching closely. At first, it was chaotic. Lyra wanted to fly ahead, ignoring the path. Leora wandered toward a sparkling stream, fascinated by its glow. One of the small creatures darted between their legs, causing Lyra to lose her balance and nearly drop her box. Alex ran forward just in time, gently catching it. "Stop," he said calmly. "Take a moment. Look at the map. Plan your steps. You can't rush if you want to succeed." The twins froze, listening. Lyra frowned, clearly irritated at being told what to do. But she saw Alex holding the box steady. Lyra bit her lip and finally read the map carefully. Slowly, they began to move with more caution. Alex encouraged them with small tips. "See the glowing flowers? Step around them. The creatures move fast, but if you pause and watch, you can avoid them. Work together. If one of you sees a problem, warn the other." Gradually, the twins began to follow his instructions. Lyra noticed a vine that moved when she stepped near it and guided Leora around it. Leora saw a small stream blocking the path and pointed it out to Lyra, suggesting a way to step over carefully. For the first time, Alex realized the twins were thinking like a team, not as 2 separate individuals competing for attention. Halfway through the garden, a sudden challenge appeared. A large crystal flower bloomed, releasing sparkling spores that could knock objects from weak hands. Lyra froze, unsure what to do. Leora glanced at her sister, then at the flower, and whispered, "We have to wait until it settles." Alex nodded. "Good thinking. Patience and observation are important. Don't act too quickly." The twins waited, and the flower's movement slowed. Carefully, they stepped past it, holding their boxes steady. Alex could see the pride in their expressions. They were learning. Near the end of the garden, a small bridge crossed a shallow stream. The bridge was narrow and wobbly. Alex had seen palace guards fail this part many times. He took a deep breath and called out, Leora, you must go slowly. Hold hands if needed. Balance is important." Lyra looked uncertain, but Leora took her sister's hand. Together, they stepped onto the bridge. It wobbled slightly, but their careful movements kept the boxes steady. Alex followed behind, ready to catch them if needed, but he did not have to. They made it across, without dropping a single box. When they reached the garden exit, Alex clapped his hands gently. "Excellent work. You planned, you observed, and you worked together." Lyra and Leora looked at each other, both smiling faintly. Lyra's silver hair bounced as she hovered slightly above the ground. "I didn't think we could do it," she admitted. Leora nodded. "It was hard, but fun." Alex smiled. "Hard work can be fun if you do it together. Remember this feeling. Leadership is not about showing power. It is about solving problems, staying calm, and helping others." After the garden challenge, Alex led the twins to the palace library. It was a vast room, filled with ancient scrolls, books, and strange devices. The twins had rarely entered this space, as it required quiet and focus, two things they usually avoided. "Today," Alex said, "we will learn another important lesson. Observation and thinking are as important as action. I want each of you to choose a book or scroll and read it carefully. Then, tell the other one what you learned in your own words." Lyra groaned. "Reading? That sounds even more boring than boxes." Alex raised an eyebrow. "You may be surprised. Knowledge is power. Even leaders must read and understand." Reluctantly, the twins chose their books. Leora picked a small scroll about Zyrethian plants, while Lyra chose a colorful book about alien creatures. Alex gave them space, sitting nearby to guide if needed. At first, the twins were distracted. Lyra doodled in the margins, and Leora's eyes wandered to a glowing crystal on the table. Alex remained calm, occasionally pointing out important sections or asking simple questions. Slowly, their attention sharpened. After half an hour, Alex asked them to explain what they had learned. Leora spoke first. "These plants, some are dangerous if touched, but others can heal. We need to know the difference to stay safe." Lyra nodded. "And these creatures, some can be friendly, some not. If we understand them, we can live together without trouble." Alex smiled. "Exactly. Observation and learning help leaders make better decisions. You were paying attention, thinking, and sharing. That is real progress." The twins seemed to glow with pride. They had not only completed the challenge, but also realized the value of careful thought. For the first time, Alex noticed that their mischief was not gone, but it was being guided by curiosity and understanding rather than chaos. After the library, Alex led them to the training hall. Here, he wanted to combine their new skills: teamwork, patience, and observation. He set up a simple obstacle course, not dangerous, but tricky enough to require coordination. There were low walls to climb, narrow beams to cross, and small puzzles to solve along the way. Lyra and Leora approached it cautiously. Alex explained, You must complete this together. If one of you rushes ahead, it will be harder. Use what you have learned today. Observe, plan, and work together. At first, the twins tried to race through, each showing off their speed. Lyra zipped across the beams with powers, while Leora used her agility to solve puzzles quickly. But Alex called them back. Stop. Remember the garden and the boxes. Success is not about speed. It is about control and cooperation. Reluctantly, they started again. This time listening to Alex's guidance. They helped each other across the beams, shared ideas on how to solve puzzles, and communicated clearly. Alex watched, impressed. They were learning more than he expected. At the end of the course, Alex clapped. Excellent. You planned, you worked together, and you controlled your powers. This is exactly what I hoped for today. Lyra and Leora looked at each other, smiling. Lyra said, I didn't think teamwork could feel like this. Leora nodded. Yes. It feels good to help each other. And succeed. Alex realized that the twins were not only learning manners and discipline, but also discovering the joy of cooperation and accomplishment. They were beginning to see that following guidance did not mean losing their fun. It meant achieving more than they could alone. As the day ended, Alex took them to the palace balcony again. The twin moons of Xyrith rose slowly, casting soft light across the gardens and palace towers. The twins were unusually quiet, reflecting on the challenges they had completed. Alex spoke softly. You did very well today. You faced challenges, worked together, and learned new ways to think. Each of these steps will help you become better leaders. Remember, leadership is not about showing power. It is about using your mind, your heart, and your actions wisely. Lyra looked at him thoughtfully. I think I understand. It is not just about being clever or strong. It is about helping each other. Leora nodded. Yes. And about paying attention, not rushing, and thinking first. Alex smiled. Exactly. Today, you did more than I hoped. Tomorrow, we will continue. But the most important lesson is that you can learn. Even powerful beings like you can grow. The twins exchanged a quiet smile, their eyes shining with pride and curiosity. Alex knew that the journey was far from over. But today marked a turning point. They had begun to understand the value of patience, teamwork, and careful thinking lessons that no one else had been able to teach them. As Alex retired to his quarters, he reflected on the day. He had faced chaos, mischief, and uncertainty, yet he had guided the twins successfully through challenges that would have defeated anyone else. He felt a quiet confidence growing within him. Humans were often underestimated, but he knew now that patience, intelligence, and kindness could shape even the most untamable creatures. And somewhere in the palace, Lyra and Leora whispered to each other, He is strange, but he teaches us well, said Lyra. Yes, Leora agreed. Maybe humans are better than I thought. Alex Harper had not yet fully tamed the twin princesses, but he had earned their attention, their respect, and perhaps even their trust. And in a palace that had never known calm or order, that was a victory worth celebrating.